Bam. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da. We're live.
We are live.
At least we should be live. I'm going to do the nervous look over to the right. And we're live.
Woohoo!
Cole.
Yeah.
What's the date today? January 2nd?
January 2nd, 2025.
2025 is off to a start with a bang.
It is.
Literally.
My birthday.
That's right. It was your birthday yesterday.
Yesterday. New Year's baby.
Well, happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Can't believe I forgot about that.
It's okay. I know who my friends are.
And I'm not a good friend. I will admit that.
I'm not going to say how old I am. Actually, I don't really give a shit. I'm 43.
See?
43.
Yeah. Well, you're young compared to me. Well, yes. 2025 is already off to a bang. We got all kinds of news out there.
Dude, there is a bunch of stuff going on already.
We got Teslas blowing up at Trump Tower in Vegas.
Yeah.
Got people being run over in New Orleans.
Yeah, we've got chicken farms on fire. We've got stuff down in Texas that's blowing up.
What's blowing up in Texas?
I think there was some kind of refinery or something like that, or something like that just blew up. It's not even in the news. And it just started on, something blew up there. There was somebody else on another subway tried to get lit on fire the other day over New York, I think.
Holy
Dude, there's all sorts of weird stuff.
And I saw a guy
on.
push somebody onto the tracks. It's like everybody just settle down.
I know. Take a breath.
It's unreal.
2024 is over. Let's start new on 2025.
We're going to get going on this little topic right here, but I have a thought about this.
Okay.
I just lost my thought. No. Okay. I have a thought about this thing about people, this just happened in Germany. We talked about it. People at the holiday Christmas market.
Right.
Somebody just zooms through there now in New Orleans. If you're going out in public nowadays, I don't think we can live paranoid, but you have to be staying aware. Is that not true?
No, I totally agree.
If you are at a mass crowd event anywhere, you have to stay aware.
Right. But that should be the mindset for everybody, even prior to this stuff happening. And it's not. We get super comfortable, especially here in the US. I think we get super comfortable with everything going on.
And then we think, oh, it's not going to happen in our town, or it's not going to, whatever. But the days of being able to just go pound a bunch and stumble around half numb and not being aware of what's around you, like, you can't do that.
Can't do that. And it's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in.
It is.
And so it's on you as a person to be aware.
Like, you got to have a designated driver.
Yeah.
And that guy's also probably got to be the designated, like, looking around and making sure that somebody's not driving through wherever we're at.
Yeah. Driving through, or like you're sitting in a crowded restaurant or something like that. You got to have somebody that's always going to be watching the entrances and exits, especially if you're going to be out drinking, man. I don't know. I've way toned down on that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm hyper aware 99.9% of the time, just because that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of wackos out there nowadays.
Yeah. And a lot of times you're responsible for your wife and your kids, when you're out there in those places. And so it's kind of an important deal to be paying attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's sad, but it's so true. Like, you just got to be aware.
Yeah.
You got to be aware.
And, and then everybody, just, God, and these big crowded places are such easy targets anymore. And like we saw in New Orleans, 99.9% of those people weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Thankfully there were some people paying attention. It could have been way worse.
But like, if you're in New York City or one of these big cities that have subways, are you standing next to the tracks waiting for the train? Are you going to be within 10 feet of the tracks?
No, I'm not even taking a subway, dude, if I don't have to.
Holy mackerel. I know that some people, you got to. That's your only mode of transportation in these areas. I know a lot of adults out in those places don't even have driver's licenses.
Yeah.
But nowadays, why would you be standing near the tracks unaware, probably looking at your phone? I'm not bagging on it. I don't know what that guy's what he was doing.
Right.
But I know people, that's typically what we do, right? Those days of complacency are just over.
Yeah. And I think, you're right. These things have made everybody so complacent because we're so wrapped up in this 5.5 to 7-inch screen that we don't have any idea what's going on around us. But I can tell you what's going on overseas.
Yeah,
but I can't tell you what's going on to my left or my right. So that's unfortunate. And we need to like reset that mindset, reset that thinking in people's brains to be like, man, you got to be aware of what's going on next to you.
Yeah, I agree.
But dude, So what about tonight?
Tonight,
You have me intrigued because you wouldn't let me look up any of this. And when you just told me what the topic was, I was freaking shocked.
I'm glad.
So I
'cause
didn't
was
even
like,
know this.
Oh, Cole, he knows already all about this.
No, I didn't even know this existed.
Because
So
then
I'm like,
I thought to myself, well, you know what? Maybe I'm the only one that doesn't know about all this, and everybody else is already. This is old news, and I'm like, so maybe this is a bum topic. And then when you walked in, you were like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Do you know anything about a lab?" You're like, "What?" Okay, that brings us to tonight's subject. Hey, if you're in the comment section, thank you for being in the comment section. It looks to me like it's already out of control over there. And we're going to talk about some stuff here that. We're going to, I'm sitting here checking on some things over here, losing track of stuff. Okay, I see where we're at. Okay. We're going to talk about Rocky Mountain Labs. So, Rocky Mountain Labs. It's in Hamilton, Montana. You've never heard of that?
I had never heard of it until you said that's what we were going to talk about.
It has a long history. I looked into this. It has a really long history. Okay. And then it has some real big recent history. Okay. So,
but it's like a legit thing.
It's a legit. Oh, we're going to go there right now.
All right.
You're just making me go there right now.
Okay. Like I said, I've never heard of this. So,
you know what's wild is that all of my stuff loaded up is gone.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. All of my stuff loaded up is gone. So give me just 1 second here.
Okay.
How did we lose all of that?
So
that's incredible.
Rocky Mountain Labs. That's the name of it.
Yes. So
is it like a Wuhan lab thing? Like over in China?
It's, we're going to talk about that. We're getting to that here.
Okay.
All right. We're going to start. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to do, I did all this. I apologize if you're in the comment section here, you're a viewer sitting there. I had all this stuff set all up and now it's all gone. So here we go. We're going to start right here. Okay. And we're going to start right here. All right. Is that showing up?
Oh, I think there it is.
Yeah, I think that's showing up. You guys can see that all nice and bright and clear.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't because my screen looks weird. I don't like how it is, but I'll try to read this from afar. Okay, really far. All right. This is the history of the Rocky Mountain Labs. I'm going to just breeze through this really quick. Okay. Because it's not anything new. It's been here for a long time.
But how come I don't know about it? And I know so much shit about Montana.
That's what everybody's asking right now. People are getting on the phone and they're calling each other being like, why doesn't Cole know about this?
Probably.
Okay. 1900 to 1928. Okay. Although the construction of the first building of the Rocky Mountain Labs was completed in 1828, Rocky Mountain Labs evolved as a result of research on Rocky Mountain spotted fever that began around 1900 in the Bitterroot Valley of western Montana. Early settlers of the valley were plagued with a deadly disease of unknown origin that seemed to be concentrated on the west side of the Bitterroot River. All right?
All right.
Now, I'm pulling this straight from the NIAID, I can't remember what all that stands for. NIH, National Institute of Health, right?
Right.
It's a government. This is government website.
So is it the truth then?
That's a very good question. At any given time, you could ask that.
Okay.
Okay. So it was known locally as the black measles because of its severe dark rash. And folk wisdom of the day suggested that infection occurred from drinking the melted snow water that gushed out of the west side canyons during the spring runoff. So don't drink the water. Eat the snow. Okay. For more reasons than one. And get this though, fatal in nearly 4 out of 5 adult cases. So this stuff was, look at those feet right there.
Yeah.
That's gnarly stuff right there. Okay. So Montana, it's been granted statehood in 1889, and in 1901, the Montana State Board of Health was created. First priority was to bring health scientists to the Bitterroot Valley to investigate the cause, treatment, and prevention of spotted fever. So during the next 3 decades, a memorable cast of characters were engaged in the drama, blah, 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 and something in the end, blah, blah, blah. Okay, 1906 to 1910. This starts get interesting here.
Okay.
Among the first was Dr. Howard Ricketts, a young pathologist from the University of Chicago, who in 1906 showed that the disease was transmitted by the bite. I'm going to change our little setup over here. I had all this stuff set up. I was so prepared. Me and Zach was helping over here. Okay. And now I'm back to, okay. All right. They bring this guy out. All right. Returning each summer to continue his work. And by 1909, he had isolated the bacterial organism that was responsible for spotted fever. And that organism was later named you go and take a crack at that. Rickettsia.
Yeah, not even going to try.
All right. Okay. A state budget shortage made it questionable. Now let's pay attention right here.
Okay.
A state budget shortage made it questionable whether Montana could continue to fund Ricketts research during the summer of 1910. All right.
Okay.
Because of the uncertainty, he accepted funding to work on a typhus outbreak in Mexico City. Shortly before his work there was concluded, Ricketts himself contracted typhus and died soon after. So because we didn't have enough money to keep him doing research up here, he took a job in Mexico City and died.
So this was way before. So the NIH hadn't been
no
made yet federally. This was all state funded. 1910.
Yes. This is the state budget.
Trying to figure out why people in Western Montana are dying.
Yes. In the Bitterroot
Valley. Okay.
Right. But apparently
interesting.
It comes down to they didn't have enough money to keep him around. So it's the taxpayers' fault. Okay. All right. So that's this. Okay. Then Clarence Birdseye was another interesting character to play a role in spotted fever research in the Bitterroot Valley as part of an effort to understand the life cycle of the wood tick, because that's what it came from. They found out it came from ticks.
Yeah.
It wasn't from eating yellow snow. Okay. They just keep on. That's the history of it. Early ticks. That's what we're figuring out here. I'm going to skip ahead right here because I don't want to read all this to you guys. But this goes way back in Montana history. So they built this lab. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was something about this, though. They were bagging animals. I can't remember what all they did here, but then they wanted to build a lab. Okay. Despite local hostility, work on spotted fever continued on several fronts. Within a few years, Doctors Roscoe Spencer and Ralph Parker produced the first effective vaccine against the disease by emulsifying infected tick tissue and inactivating the Ricketts phenol. The early facilities in which spotted fever research was conducted was makeshift at best. Ricketts worked in tents set up in the yard of the Northern Pacific Hospital north of the valley in Missoula. Weird. Okay. So others worked out of cabins and farmhouses, and Parker for a time conducted his studies in a woodshed. So these guys are roughing it. All right. They don't got a fancy bioweapons lab. They don't have a fancy
bioweapons lab.
They don't have they don't have billions of dollars on a health facility.
Right.
Okay. Parker found an abandoned schoolhouse on the west side of the valley and arranged to have it rented by the U.S. Public Health Service. The schoolhouse lab, as it was known, that sounds scary. That sounds like a good movie, like a good October horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
The schoolhouse lab.
Schoolhouse lab.
As it was known, was the facility where Spencer and Parker ground up tick tissue to produce their vaccine. Okay, 1926, 1927, progress had been made toward controlling spotted fever, but much more awaited. In 1926, the Board of Entomology asked the state legislature to provide enough money to build a modern entomological laboratory. I don't know if I just said that right. It's way across the room. In the spring of 1927, the legislature appropriated 60,000 big ones for the new building, and a site in the town of Hamilton was chosen. Now, it's starting to get controversial. By this time, local sentiment toward medical investigators had softened considerably, but pockets of fear and distrust remained. All those ignorant townsfolk. Right. So each spring, newspapers reported new cases of the illness, while the annual number of deaths from spotted fever had fallen significantly from the recording high of 17 in 1901. Every year, more victims succumbed to the disease. In addition, during the previous 16 years, 5 laboratory workers had become infected and perished. The lab is built. Okay, when news hit the valley that a new laboratory would be built in Hamilton, a group of citizens immediately formed a coalition in opposition, and it became clear that the facility would not be built without a fight. Unlike previous workstations, this site lay east of the river that bisects the valley. Okay. Okay, this is a great, I love this one. Since infection only occurred on the west side, residents worried that ticks might escape the facility and pose a danger to the town. To stop construction, homeowners in the neighborhood of the proposed site filed a lawsuit. At trial, plaintiffs argued that the location was particularly dangerous since it was only a block away from the high school, and owners feared that property values in the area would plummet. Ultimately, the judge decided the construction could go forward, but in an effort to alleviate town fears, a small moat was built around the perimeter of the facility to be filled with water. Ticks, it was supposed, could not swim the moat. So it's not like they couldn't be like on your clothes, you know, and leave with you or something, but we're going to build a moat around our little lab that's a block away from the high school. Everybody sleep.
Well, this is before we knew about like airborne pathogens and stuff too, I'm assuming.
You know, I there's a part of me that thinks, do we know much more than they knew back then? My heck. Okay. So the building was completed, yada, yada. It goes on and on and on. Yeah. This is right off of the government site. Mm-hmm. So
they're going to tell us what they want us to know.
It's the God honest truth. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that brings us up to present day. All right. So that goes on and on. Today, scientists at RML, Rocky Mountain Laboratory, investigate a wide variety of infectious diseases supported by state-of-the-art genomics and electron microscopy units. Current research includes the study of chronic wasting disease, chlamydia, Q fever, tularemia, something, salmonella, something, Lyme disease, okay, and plague. Oh, relapsing fever and plague. So they're messing with the plague over there.
Yeah,
in Hamilton.
In Hamilton.
Yeah. Okay, an integrated research facility with maximum containment laboratories allow scientists to use advanced technology in the quest to protect people from the emerging infectious diseases. Okay, that's the gist, all right? And then there's some more interesting stories about this place. Is this intriguing to you yet?
Yeah, like I had no clue that this even existed, nor that there was like a history of investigating and trying to learn about infectious diseases in Montana.
Oh yeah.
So this is super interesting to me. I mean, 1910.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can just change it while I'm up there. Let's see here.
Our heater's on. I can hear it.
Oh, shop heater.
Yeah.
It is. I can hear it too.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. That's all right.
All
okay.
Right.
All right. Well, we're not too professional tonight. All right. My system, all of our hard work for hours today has just gone right out the window.
Probably because the NIH got wind of you trying to put all this out there. They're like, we're not going to let Milo get it.
I'm going to hide that on stream because I don't show the man behind the curtains. And maybe we'll do this one. All right. This will give you a little taste of this. Of this is. Let's do share here. I'm going to bring up, here's a little promo video on the lab. We can see what kind of goes on at this laboratory.
So like they have a whole marketing department.
Oh yeah, they do.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. God, this is wild. I had no idea. So like RFK knows about this and
we'll get to him.
Like
that video is coming up.
High up feds know this place exists and like deal with it.
Man, we were all over the news like a year ago and I missed it. Okay. All right.
The U.S. President and Congress directed a branch of the federal government called the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases to increase its research into development of safe and effective measures to protect the public. National leaders acknowledged there was a need for new and better vaccines and drugs to prevent or cure infectious diseases. In response to this public health research directive, Congress authorized $66.5 million for construction of a biosafety laboratory and related infrastructure. The Rocky Mountain Laboratories in Hamilton, Montana, was chosen as the site for this facility. That new laboratory, known as the Integrated Research Facility, opened in spring 2008. Join us now for a tour and commentary of the IRF and its special features.
Oh, they're special.
The Rocky Mountain Laboratories had a critical mass of talented scientists who were in the same place, interacting with each other and fully capable of studying everything from the basic science to the ultimate applied development of countermeasures. So it was the perfect match of having what you need in any endeavor. You have to have a critical mass of people who are talented, who are interested, and can interact with each other, and that's exactly what goes on at the Rocky Mountain Labs.
That's exactly what goes on at the Rocky Mountain.
Biosafety level 4 laboratory environments are extremely inconvenient to work in because of having to work in the positive pressure suits and the level of concentration that's required to work in there. So as a result, many of the studies which are done on components of biosafety level 4 agents which have been inactivated and taken out of the biosafety level 4 lab. Then they can be safely worked on at biosafety level 2. And the biosafety level 2 laboratories in the integrated research.
Okay, so I don't know anything about any of this lab stuff, other than what the little bit of research I've done is that it's one of the few bio level 4 labs. In other words, the real scary stuff goes on at this lab. There's bio level 2, bio level 3, and then there's bio level 4, and
which is like extinction level.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's our lab.
Like coronavirus. What was corona?
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're getting there.
Facility have been designed extremely well. It's a relatively new open concept.
Hold on. They've got these pressure crap suits. They told us to wear a freaking cloth mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wear two of them. Remember?
Wear 2 masks. That's right.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
So, but they're wearing these astronaut suits.
Oh yeah, puffy suits.
But they have a moat, so
they have a water-filled moat.
Chris just says the same thing. Not sure they need positive pressure suits when they could just wear a mask.
Yeah, why do they need all that?
We're on the same wavelength right now.
They just isn't it N95?
Yeah,
95.
Yeah, aren't they just wearing
96,
that one?
Whatever it takes.
Or the ones that like all these companies were making for like $3.
That's all you need.
And some hand sanitizer.
That's all you need. Hey, good evening, Mr. Chris Mader. Good to see you, my man. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's go back in here.
Lord.
All right.
Where the laboratories of one investigator are really contiguous with the laboratories of another investigator, which promotes collaboration and interaction between the different research groups. This concept has become extremely important in biomedical research over the last 10 years or so. We were very, very fortunate to recruit Dr. Heinz Feldman to come and work at Rocky Mountain Laboratories to be the chief scientist for our biosafety level 4 laboratories and be the laboratory chief of the Laboratory of Virology. Dr. Feldman is easily recognized as one of the foremost investigators and one of the foremost world's authorities on diseases requiring maximum containment.
As chief of the Laboratory of Virology, Dr. Feldman oversees a group of scientists who are trying to contribute new discoveries to improve global public health. Those discoveries could be new diagnostic tests, therapeutic treatments, or vaccines that work against an array of emerging infectious diseases, such as Ebola, Marburg, and Lassa fever viruses. Many of these diseases occur in parts of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, where there is limited access to healthcare. And for many of the microbes being studied in the IRF, there are no medicines to help people recover and no vaccines to prevent infection and sickness.
I think the most rewarding thing for us as researchers is if we could really contribute to something that actually would be applied in public health response or biodefense response. I think that is the most rewarding thing. Usually we don't see that during our careers.
The types of research that will be done in this new facility are actually quite exciting. scientifically and very important to the public health. These new facilities have really provided us a wonderful opportunity to make sure that we are at the top of our research capacity and be able to be responsive in the event of an emerging infectious disease, or if someone deliberately tries to introduce a very dangerous agent into the public
They
domain.
obviously didn't do a very good job a couple of years ago.
We're applying the basic concepts here of research to understand how viruses cause disease
This is only 9 minutes.
why they are so
We're in
virulent,
4.5.
using animal models
I'll skim it.
and
I'll show you a little bit
classical
more about the
virology.
dudes.
RF is a state-of-the-art biocontainment laboratory. So this is as good as this can get. There's
This is as
no
good as
better one.
this can get.
We
There's no
have
better.
redundancy in all the systems,
This is the
and
heavy
that's
level
one of the key elements in
This is like
technology. Every system that
Super Bowl of
inactivates material that is then being released from these laboratories is duplicated or even triplicated.
In nearly 40 years
We're
of
probably
biosafety
demonetized
level
already.
4 research, there has never been an incident that involved a community member, a neighborhood, or the environment outside the laboratory.
I think the safety record by itself, the nature of the pathogens, as well as the technology, provides a safe operation for these laboratories.
Look at this
And again, we're not handling anything that is not on this planet anyway.
The work in the biosafety level 4 laboratory is extremely challenging, both physically and mentally.
Training is the most important part, but it's not any different from, let's say, a policeman or a firefighter. You know, you put people into dangerous situations, and if they train well, they handle those situations very easily and in a very efficient way. And that's the same with these laboratory workers.
Nothing can go wrong.
The suit is heavy. I mean, you feel the suit on your shoulders, and if you work long hours with these kind of equipment, it's demanding. Basically, everything that you do in a normal laboratory is more complicated if you're in a positive pressure suit.
One of the most common questions about the integrated research facility at Rocky Mountain Laboratories is, why Hamilton, Montana? The Rocky Mountain Laboratories already had the basic research infrastructure and personnel in place, and NIAID had a long history of proven leadership.
Rocky Mountain spotted.
Our historical commitment and performance in the arena of emerging infectious diseases led up to our taking the responsibility of doing a significant amount of work on the basic and applied research for emerging infectious diseases and biodefense. Not only do we have a track record of doing it, but we have been supporting the best and the brightest of people in infectious diseases and microbiology, from fundamental basic research to epidemiology to actually applied research, vaccine development, the development of antimicrobials, antivirals, etc.
We feel that we now have the facilities to do the basic science, to do the development of new diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines, to ensure the public that we are doing our very best to help them be prepared in case of an emergency.
I don't know.
Rocky Mountain Laboratories has been doing as we move.
Okay.
That's
and I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure there's some. I'm sure that there are some very talented people that work at this place.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm sure there's a lot of just people that really care about all this stuff really a lot. So I don't mean to like discredit any of these people, but I just found this interesting, that what level of things are going on there, and then some other things that have come about from that. Let me pull up something else here.
But you would think, so I mean, I guess this is what kind of shocks me, is like Montana's like super proud of all the stuff we have here. We're like always promoting all these things that we have in Montana. I've never heard of this. I have never heard. I've been to Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, Clay went to college, and my brother went to college in Missoula. He's been to Hamilton multiple times, I'm sure. I wonder if my brother even knew this was around.
You're gonna
have to ask him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just crazy that I'd never, until tonight, or till you started researching this, did you know it existed?
I did not.
Did Zach?
No.
Huh.
No.
Dude, that's crazy.
No.
I'm super interested to see where this goes, to see how much involvement it actually has in like world affairs now.
Okay, now we're getting caught up. Okay. So I've tried to put these in order into some kind of a timeline. But so this one kind of jumps ahead. You know which one I'm missing? There it is. Okay, nope, that one's, I have these in the right order. I actually put these in order. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share this one next. Got another clip coming up here. All right. Let's see here. Go to screen. Sorry, I had all this stuff.
No, that's fine.
Up. Okay.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
All right, here it comes. Gotta find the right one. There it is. There it is.
And go.
Go.
Maybe.
Oops, I hit the wrong button. Okay. And this thing's all queued up.
The Pentagon was very worried about actually launching a full-blown bioweapons arms race because they said nobody, this is very sketchy. The Patriot Act, exemptions are very sketchy and people don't even know about it. And so they didn't want to do it. So they took the money that Cheney gave them, $2.2 billion, and they funneled it through NIH. And it all went through Anthony Fauci. So beginning in 2002, Anthony Fauci got a 68% raise from the Pentagon for doing bioweapons development.
Wow.
And he got a raise of billions of dollars a year to do it. And then he started that's when they started doing all this gain of function. And then in 2014, 3 of those bugs escaped in high-profile escapes from different labs in the United States. Fauci built all these new labs at BU at Galveston to do his shenanigans. And so 3.
Okay, that one I haven't been able to find if our lab, but Dr. Heinz Feldman, he reassured us that it's got levels upon levels of security. So, and they wear heavy suits. You can feel them on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Right. So nothing can escape this place. There's
know.
all of this stuff, right? So he's saying that everything is just like perfectly safe. You don't got to worry about it. But according, I don't know, Robert Kennedy Jr., I don't know if he's telling the truth here. I suspect he is, but
Lori Cherry in the comments says that was swine flu in 2014 that had escaped from one of these.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not caught up with my swine flu in all caps. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on, RFK. I want some more.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Here's some more.
The bugs escaped and they received publicity. They had smallpox and a lot of really bad things. And then Congress held hearings on it. Everybody was angry. These bugs escaped, and 300 scientists, top scientists, sent letters to Obama saying, you got to shut down Anthony Fauci because he's going to create a pandemic. And so Obama ordered a moratorium. And at that time, Fauci had 18 different gain of function experiments he was doing around the United States. But Obama ordered him to shut them all down, but he didn't. He instead moved his stuff offshore to Wuhan, where he could do it out of sight of these 300 scientists and nosy White House officials who were trying to shut him down. And they continued to do it with Ralph Baric, the same people he was funding here, Ralph Baric and Peter Daszak, and they moved their operations to the Wuhan lab.
Okay, so that's where he's saying and I'd heard this before, that basically these things didn't just get moved over to Wuhan, they also got moved over to Ukraine. And there's a lot of our labs have all gone over to Ukraine. So when the Ukraine war kicked off, I wish I should have had some clips pulled up about that.
Yeah.
There was a big rush, like, this is another reason why we should support Ukraine. They were telling us is because there might be some labs that are over there. So
I do remember
got called on the carpet
to
tell us about the labs, and everybody was just trying to sugarcoat some things. But that was also part of the thing of like, okay, we're not going to do these things here in the US. We're getting shut down here, but we're going to push these projects outside.
But Rocky Mountain Labs never got shut down.
Well, no, they did not get shut down.
Okay.
All right. So Okay, let's go to this next one here. All right, give me 2 seconds.
So Chris also said that 2014 was an Ebola outbreak as well.
Ah,
swine flu.
Okay,
Ebola.
We'll be right
was
there.
that H1N1 as well? Or was H1N1 the swine flu? H1N1 was swine. I got that. I remember getting that.
Okay,
I
so
got super sick.
let's do, what did I do right here? Share. I already have it up. Let's see here. Okay. All right, this one's a little snarky, but
a little snarky. Jesse Waters.
Okay,
I like that dude.
This is 2023, near the end of 2023.
Okay.
Whoops. You can hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay. Now we can see it, right? Oh, I'm sharing the wrong screen still.
Brought it to a lab in America. Then Fauci's team went to a roadside zoo in Maryland.
Wrong thing.
And of evidence, Dr. Anthony Fauci helped deliver a coronavirus strain to America a year before the pandemic. Documents uncovered by the White Coat Waste Project show that in 2018, Fauci's goons went to the Wuhan lab, bottled up a virus, and then brought it to a lab in America. Then Fauci's team went to a roadside zoo in Maryland and grabbed a dozen Egyptian fruit bats, threw them in the back of a van, and then took the Egyptian fruit bats across state lines to the middle of nowhere, Montana, and then spliced them up with a coronavirus. Fauci Frankenstein bats on our soil a year before the pandemic. But then he acted all shocked when the virus started spreading. Remember, our scientists said, oh, this is natural. Some pangolin sneezed at a wet market right next to the Wuhan lab. The government knew the Wuhan lab was playing with the viruses. We played with them there, too. We played with them here. We funded it. We trained Bat Lady. How many times do I have to say we trained her? But Fauci and his goons tried to play it off like they'd never heard this before. Just lock down, shut up, and wear a mask. Justin Goodman is the senior vice president of the White Coat Waste Project. You're telling me they grabbed a bunch of bats from a stupid Maryland zoo on the side of the road, drove it into the middle of the country, and started experimenting on them with coronaviruses?
Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. Fauci is a felon and a fraud whose bloodlust for torturing animals in laboratories was so unquenchable that they were rounding up bats from zoos, rounding up pet dogs even in some cases, and kept an island of thousands of monkeys off the coast of South Carolina just to torture and experiments. And obviously, as we saw with COVID, going around the world and collecting dangerous, incurable viruses and stockpiling them and manipulating them in laboratories is a recipe for disaster, and it's only a matter of time until we have another pandemic on our hands, courtesy of the NIH.
So Fauci grabs a virus from the Wuhan lab, grabs a bunch of Egyptian bats from Maryland, and then mashes them together in Montana?
Not only that, but Batwoman from the Wuhan lab and Peter Daszak from EcoHealth were the ones who went into the caves in southern China and found this bat virus in the first place. Then it was shipped to this NIH lab in Montana. Now, let me add, the kicker is that this lab in Montana, this government lab in Montana that was overseen by Fauci, still exists, has a history of infected animals escaping, people getting into the laboratory, unauthorized people getting into the lab, and bioweapons development. Yet NIH is about to spend, or currently spending $125 million of COVID relief funds to expand its bat labs.
Wow.
Wait a second. We're using COVID money to grow more bat labs? You've got to be kidding me.
It's an accident waiting to happen, and we're funding it. And then add to all of that the NIH nominee from the Biden administration, who's about to take over the NIH, just told Rand Paul in a hearing that she supports gain-of-function experiments on animals. She supports funding labs in China and other enemy nations that are completely unaccountable to American taxpayers.
Okay, lock her up. Lock Fauci up. Lock everybody up in Montana that's responsible. Lock up the stupid zookeeper in Maryland. Let's just try to save as many lives as possible and keep everybody out of these labs. Great work, great research. Keep the heat on these guys.
Incredible.
Only way we're going to shut these dumb labs down is we expose
I just thought that was interesting. That came out in 2023, and I'm like, why have I not been seeing this or hearing about any of this? So I don't know. We just have our heads down.
We barely heard about that then, or in 2018, or whenever this stuff was actually at the lab in Montana.
Yeah.
I wonder if the people in Hamilton even knew about it.
I mean, somebody had to have.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, they're employed there, but
he was saying a year before. So
yeah,
early 2019 or 2018.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's interesting. So who knows? We're just guys in a small town. And
right. I wonder if, like, how much government money kickback is Montana getting to have this lab in Hamilton?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it's a pretty big employer in the town.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a lot of,
Is it still right across the street from the school?
I don't know. Do they? Hopefully they've updated the moat.
Yeah. It's a 2024 moat now, so it's a little bit better.
Yeah. And
they use
ticks can't swim.
Yeah, they use distilled water.
Yeah. Okay, so that does bring us up to 2024.
Okay.
This one's probably not going to be as exciting, but it's just a little something we'll just skim through here really quick. And this brings us to what our friend Mr. Chris Mader was talking about. Let's do this and that's it right there. Bam.
Sounds like a subplot to World War Z.
All right. Inside, this is from the Daily Mail in January 24. So inside NIH virus lab in Montana that has eerie ties to Wuhan, where U.S. scientists inject pigs and monkeys with Ebola and other dangerous bioagents. So they're in the big leagues over there. And I mean, this article right here goes on to, it's going to show some stuff here that they are, I mean, I was reading through this stuff. It's pretty graphic. Hemorrhagic fever causes a lot of bleeding from the brain, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, everything. It's a real mess. And anyway, so this is what they've been currently, fairly currently been working on over there is these experiments on pigs and monkeys and things with Ebola. And this also goes through and talks about the 12 Egyptian fruit bats that they grabbed. It talks about all this stuff that they just talked about there in that Fox piece right there. But anyway, that shows you kind of some of the big heavy hitting stuff that they are continuing to work on over there. And right there, Hamilton, Montana.
That's insane, dude. I had no clue this even existed.
I want to know, why aren't they on an island out in the middle of nowhere, the Pacific Ocean, doing this type of stuff?
Why are they doing it?
So I get it that, we in the name of science, we're learning new things. I get it that they're also trying to figure out, what if the enemy used something on us? How would we? I feel that there's most of those people.
Yeah.
Our heads, minds, or all hearts, everything's in the right place.
Well, I'm sure the people that work there are, but like the people that are pulling the strings.
Yeah.
I mean, Fauci.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think some people though, like, can push the envelope a little bit.
Yeah.
Be like, it's human nature.
Totally.
And I think the thing that bothers me the most, like, why are we bothered about these things? It's not what they're doing typically. I feel like it's the lack of transparency. It's like, when you find out that they haven't been honest, or that weren't honest through that whole situation, that it really makes you stop and wonder, then what are you guys doing? Like, like I'm sitting here questioning what's going on at this Rocky Mountain Labs now, like, because of the past of what's happened. It's like when you find out that your high school teenager has done something, right? Well, now you're questioning everything.
Yeah.
Like, what else are you doing? Let me just go search your room. You lied about this. You lied about this. What else are you hiding in here? Right. I feel like that as a society is what we tend to do we start to question everything and assume the worst. My kid's strung out on drugs and he's a mess and he's blah, blah, his life, he's going to be a dirtbag. His life is over. That is, I feel, that's the tendency I feel that we also have a society to do, is to assume the worst. And what else are we being lied to about? So, and I think that that's the problem with the lack of transparency. I know they don't want to give up government secrets in the name of national security, and we don't want anybody else to know what we're doing over here. I think that could be taken a bit far. That's just me personally, small town guy.
No, I agree. On the transverse of it though, isn't it our responsibility then? I mean, obviously journalism or mainstream media doesn't do a very good job of like holding these people accountable. I mean, so there's a couple of news clips from Jesse Waters or whatever. Yeah, that's great. But I mean, this should be like every Montanan should know that there's a Rocky Mountain Labs here.
Couldn't believe it. Honestly, I went and found there's been a bunch of news pieces. There was a bunch of stuff on X. I didn't see it. I missed it. You know what? Actually, back then I wasn't on X that heavy. I haven't been on there very often until probably the last 6 months, 9 months or so. I started to get on there and read my news more on there. But hey, Matt Rosendale was pitching a bill about, I watched his speech on it, about trying to shut down something, or he was trying to bring some transparency as to what was going on at that lab here in Montana.
Did it get any traction?
I was preparing for this, and I was only able to watch him giving a speech on the floor. And so I don't know where that really went. That's the point though. It's like, I feel kind of like, oh, how do I not know where that went? I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know any of this. So, I think the rest of us, we all kind of just go to work. We have our heads down and we trust that, I don't know that we all really trust, but we know that there's people that are supposed to be taking care of what they take care of. And you want to think that our government has our interest at heart. I think to a degree, most of them do, but
you think most of them do?
I think there's a large part of the bureaucracy that just goes to work and they just do what they do. And they like us, they just kind of trust in what they're doing. They're just doing what they're told. I do feel there's a lot of that. I feel like there's a lot of I can't question something because I need health benefits and I got a family and I can't lose this good.
You don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people who get into government because honestly, once you get in, you're just taking care. It's just a safe road. Right. Yeah. And then you just don't want to blow that. So I feel like there's so much of that going on that, to be a whistleblower and, or to ask questions and,
isn't that the purpose though of being in government, is to ask questions? I mean, I guess it would just be, I
don't think if you want job security, I think if you ask questions too much, I think you get shown the door. I think somebody up above you is just like, let's move.
But that's kind of what the whole basis of our government is. Like the founding fathers, they freaking asked the questions and
those days
made
were over.
The changes.
Yeah,
and so
those days are over.
I mean, I just think that as a Montanan, that's just now finding out about this. Now, maybe part of that's on my fault. We do have a responsibility as citizens to look into stuff and to be aware of our surroundings and know these things. But
just like we were talking about how we almost have to be hyper aware of our surroundings now when you're out at some mass event in the public. In a way, I know we don't want to, but you have to be hyper aware of what these departments and what these agencies are doing.
Yeah.
They got a big blank checkbook and they're just going to town, building labs all over the place. Let's try this. Let's try that. I think it gets to be kind of a power. I think it's less about money, because I think after a while money becomes a non-issue. They can get money anywhere.
Yeah, it's about power.
It's about power, and this is why they get old and they can't let go of it. Yeah. What's Nancy Pelosi going to do if she were to retire tomorrow? She's going to freak out, right? Why hasn't she retired already? Why hasn't Mitch McConnell retired already? They cannot let go of power. They cannot be out of the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think that's the way with some of these guys of the Fauci types. I mean, he loves being in charge of all of this stuff. That's just it could just go escape out of this little glass thing when, and this fancy room we built, it's living on the edge I think patting himself on the back like I'm a hero, I'm on the front lines, but I think that can get blurred.
And having that sinister thought in the back of your mind that, man, I could destroy a third of the world.
Yeah, I
just with the snap of my fingers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think at a certain level, I think it's a power rush. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But I guess just like part of
now our tax dollars are paying for Secret Service for him.
For Fauci?
Yeah, he's had Secret Service now for I don't know how many years. Yeah. Man. I'm not wishing harm on him.
No.
I don't, I think though questions need to be asked and answered. And I think they've tried to do that with him many times in Congress. He has not been forthright. I've watched a lot of those hearings. He's been slippery.
I've watched a lot.
I think they should get into those investigations, and I think he should be held accountable. And anybody else who has been doing shady things,
Yeah.
But no, do I think that, somebody should go out there and just go after him and vigilante? No, I don't think it's not vigilante. It's let's get down to the bottom of it. Let's have transparency.
Yeah.
So,
and so I guess is what I wonder now. So there's this lab in the Bitterroot in Hamilton that until tonight I didn't even know existed. How many other labs out there are there?
I have no clue.
Fed
Up says listening and learning from the Bitterroot. Hey, get us a brochure, would you?
Yeah. Did you know that there was a lab in Hamilton?
Did you know about the lab there in Hamilton? Fed Up.
I mean, if it's been around essentially since 1900.
Mr. Slehuber says the island of Dr. Moreau. Very true. I don't know why all of these labs aren't on islands.
Yeah.
Like once you leave that island, if you're going to like go home for the week or something, like you should have to like hang out for a week and have them taking your temperature,
Yeah. Dude, so look,
come on.
Chris Mader just said, I'm surprised Skousen mentioned the nuclear arsenal near Great Falls, but didn't mention this. That's what I said too. Before we started.
I'm going to look that up because I didn't even go look at the Bitterroot. Maybe he talks about that area.
I don't think he does. I read through that and I don't think he does.
Did I take the book home?
I don't know.
You know what? I bet you it's in the office.
Is it?
When we get done here.
Yeah.
Chris, we'll let you know in the next live stream. Well, maybe not the next one. The next one's tomorrow night. And hey, it's going to be a real good one.
It is. But this is like blowing my mind right now just because I didn't know it existed. And B, there's obviously very little transparency about it. I mean, we had a funeral music 2018 docu. Let's make it feel happy.
That music was weird.
It was weird.
It was like sinister, evil villain organ music. Kind of.
Yeah. With some weird, early AI voiceover chick or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Cody Slehuber says it seems it should have been more front and center to Montana, but government doesn't like questions. That's very true.
And that's where I think it's our responsibility.
Hey, it should be like
to ask questions.
Recently, I got to go to the Tillamook Cheese Factory.
I love that place.
Have you been to that place?
Oh, like 3 times, I think.
The place out in Oregon?
Yeah.
You've been there?
Yes.
It's like the Disneyland. That's not even a compliment anymore, but back in the good old days to call something the Disneyland of cheese.
Yeah.
How awesome is that place, right?
Yeah, that place is sweet.
Right. That's how that lab should be. Like you could walk up there and you can do the guided tour, you can do the self tour, right? And you can sit there and watch them make your cheese, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to have like a catwalk. I want to be able to go into this lab and I want to see them manipulate genes in front of me, and it should be that kind of transparency.
Yeah.
So we all meet in the food court and
okay, so Cody just said, I've seen more nuclear missiles being moved around as a kid than I know about this lab. And that's what I mentioned to you when you first told me that's what we were going to talk about. I know way more about nukes in Montana than this lab that I didn't know about existed until tonight.
Yeah.
So now we've got nuclear arsenal in Montana just up the road.
Yeah.
From a freaking, essentially a big bioweapon building.
Yeah.
That doesn't compute in my head as like, hey, this is safe. We're going to put a bioweapons lab right next to a nuclear facility.
Yeah, where it could become a target. Why not just take them both out? Let's do a twofer. If I'm Putin, I'm over there. I'm like, hey, why don't we take them both out? Or whatever, however he says that, right?
Yeah. Drake and Ken are in the room. Hey, guys.
Hey.
So dude, it's like.
This is why you're my favorite uncle. Hey, and you just went to the top of my nephew's list right there. You're at the top, Drake.
There you go.
We are going to do a deep dive with the Rockies tomorrow. I hope you're going to be around in that one, Drake. I'm hoping we should. I'll get with you guys. We need to have Drake, Cade, everybody in there.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good one.
Unless there's a Nuggets game.
Nope, there is not.
No,
nope.
Oh,
all right. We're gonna get into all that tomorrow. We need to have you guys in there.
Yeah, I just like where's the Montana is like super. At least it used to be where we were always about transparency and being like we're kind of this out west, still old mindset. And
right,
like here's this lab that we hardly know anything about.
Right. This is a state that didn't have speed limits.
I know.
What kind of regulations and rules did they have at that lab during that time? You know what I'm saying? Fed Up says, I know a guy from Bible study who worked at that lab in Hamilton. So Fed Up was aware of it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's dudes walking in here going like, hey, is this where I get my deer carcass tested? They told me I need to get my deer tested.
Yeah. Oh, so there's another one. We got blue tongue up here. We've got the other disease that we're getting. Blue tongue, it affects white-tailed deer, kills them.
Oh man.
What's the other one that we have right now that are in
wasting
the mule deer?
Chronic?
Yeah,
wasting.
Chronic wasting.
Yeah, they are upfront about that. They say they're working on that.
Oh, they are working on chronic wasting.
Yeah, they said that on their little something. Oh, on the NIH website, they said that they're working on chronic wasting. So
they found that in elk this year too.
I bet more Chinese know about that lab than Americans.
Probably wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, we all know Wuhan all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
We are all saying Wuhan over here. Over in Wuhan, they're all going Hamilton.
The Hamilton lab.
Yeah.
So then that makes you wonder, did Corona actually even come from China?
No.
If they were essentially doing the same thing.
I think we gave it to them. We gave it to them to work on, and then gave them money to work on it. And then for some reason he was like, hey, I don't know why they wouldn't got it and brought it back, bottled it up, brought it back over here, brought it to our lab
in little Montana.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
Crazy stuff goes on.
Yeah, I know. And that's the stuff they want you to know about.
I don't think they want us to know.
No, NIH.
Oh, yeah,
that's the stuff they want you to know about.
Oh, yeah. This is the warm, fuzzy, like, everybody look over here, but don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain over here.
Right.
Pulling the levers.
God, that's just insane to me.
It's fun stuff.
Wow. That was a good find. It was a super good find.
Yeah. I mean, it's been out in the wide open, but hey, I didn't see it before. And all of a sudden it's just like, bam. So,
yeah.
Well, anyway. All right. I'm trying to skim through some of the comments right here. Cody Slahuber saying, do you think we can request some information like a Freedom of Information Act, or if it's a taxpayer money, more transparent audit?
I don't know. That might be a question for Forrest.
Man, we got to get our local politicians in here and be like,
yeah, what do you know?
What do you know?
Yeah.
Like we're somebody like they gotta hey, we're citizens. We're taxpayers.
We have 27 people in our live streams.
We got 27 people that want to know. What do you know? So we're going to do that. We're going to get some of these guys in here.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. We got another live stream coming up tomorrow. If you want to be notified about that, we're going to be talking to Rocky the Mountain Lion from the Denver Nuggets, and who had an epic 33-year career. There's a lot of good stories there. And it wasn't just him. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to be like, yeah, get Cade Drake in there.
Cade and Drake.
Yeah. Because it really was a family affair, these guys.
Right.
And it's an epic story. And those guys all supported all of that. So,
and it's kind of good to get away from some of the doom and gloom and crazy shit that goes on in the world and talk about something awesome like that.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a new comment here from Smile Time. You guys are awesome. Can you please cover the horror in North Carolina and Tennessee media won't touch? How
to survive the cold
with no support and threat of removing children, no FEMA. Oh, about
what? I hate to admit that I am not as up to date on what's been going on out there.
There's like all the hurricane stuff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, and they're still waiting for.
I was watching footage the other day of some of the wreckage that is just still all out there. And it's just incredible, like how much of it has not been being cleaned up, how much of it's kind of like the drone thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's talking about it all of a sudden anymore, yet there's still people out there suffering. Mm-hmm. So that is a good point to bring up as we all sit here and watch the craziness. And I kind of feel bad because we're like, wow, 2025 is off with a bang, and we're just like rattling off, like kind of like it's a joke about all these bad things that are happening. But there's been so many things lately. It's kind of like, I find it's kind of like a defense mechanism to try and laugh off some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not really saying it's funny or that we should just laugh these things off, because there's people that are really suffering out there. So I don't mean to make light of all that stuff. I do feel like I don't know enough about what has really been going on. I was watching stories on it there for a while where they were saying, wow, they're just keeping us out of here. Wow, this is a land grab. And they're just fencing off areas that, I'm going to get arrested if I go past this fence they've erected where I used to be able to just drive down this road.
Yeah.
And the whole situation is so confusing. And at least for me, I try to dive in. You know about that. Hey.
No, thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby.
Bad Canyon Fence.
That is our friend Shelby Burrows from Bad Canyon Fence. My man. Thank you much.
Thank you, bud. We super appreciate it. Same thing. I don't know enough about it. It's one of those things too, where we gonna get caught up in what's happening right now. All that happened a few months ago, but there's been so much that happened since. You get caught up in that and you forget that there's a lot of that FEMA's not doing over there.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of infrastructure that hasn't been replaced. And
a lot of people without power.
There's supposed to be some kind of, and I don't think of it the same way, because like people are like, there's this Arctic vortex coming down. It's supposed to get super cold across the US. We're used to it.
Yeah. I'm looking at the temperatures coming up and I'm like, those aren't even as cold as normal, like what we should be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you get down to that part of the country where it gets below freezing for more than a couple of days.
It's an issue.
It's an issue for them.
They're not prepared.
Like, the other morning I texted a friend and I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I'm out here in my t-shirt doing whatever. It's a balmy 16 degrees out. Like, no big deal to me.
Yeah.
But we're used to it. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I just keep saying, yeah,
I know.
But I agree. It is and I'm from the southern states, and I just remember like one time, it snowed like one time when I was in middle school. The roads got a little slushy and people were talking about the buses aren't going to run. I mean, a little slushy. That's really about it. So stuff that we take for granted up here. The live stream tomorrow evening is at, what time did we say that's at? It's on the 6:30?
6:30 tomorrow.
6:30.
Yeah.
And that'll be a good one.
We'll try to.
Full disclaimer, Rocky the Mountain Lion, that's my brother. So I have a little insider knowledge about him and his career.
And see, I don't. So I've been kind of looking a little bit, and like he's on some he's like on big time podcasts.
Yeah, I know.
And so like
he's doing us a solid.
He is.
Right.
And I mean, I should probably wear an Edmonton Oiler jersey, even though it's not basketball. It is hockey season. Well, it's basketball season, and I don't watch basketball. But the Avs are a hockey team. They play in the same place.
Yeah.
And I do believe, does Rocky go to the hockey games?
No. Oh. No, he does not go to the hockey games. But I'll give you a funny little story behind the scenes about the Avalanche. Okay. Years ago, back when the Avalanche were just like Stanley Cup. What years were those?
Patrick Waugh. Those days?
Yes.
Yeah. Joe Sakic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my two brothers dressed up like crazy fans. And they were like, I can't remember it all. Like you could pull them up probably, but they were at all the games, the big games. And anyway, I can't remember what they were doing, but they were like getting a ton of airtime and a ton of attention. And I saw some guys the other day that are doing this at some hockey game where they're right up against the glass of the penalty box.
Yeah.
Have you seen those guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are those guys and where are they? What?
I don't know.
Where was that at?
Which ones?
I don't know. There were two crazy dressed friends that are just like, that are something went bling. Hey.
Yeah. Pledger, $20.
Pledger was one of the guys dressed up at these hockey games.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pledger. I'm just talking about him right there.
I get to see his videos.
Yeah, I do. I run all videos of yours, Pledger, by Cole here. But yeah, geez, thank you much.
Super fan. I know a little bit. I used to be a super fan for the Billings Outlaws. Me and Gary Tim.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So back when Billings had the Outlaws, the first rendition of the Billings Outlaws, they had the crazy seats, which were at the end zone.
Yeah.
And Gary Tim, he had season tickets for a long. Well, he actually walked on and played.
Oh, wow.
For the Billings Outlaws.
That's incredible.
And he was like in his 40s, I think, when he walked on.
Did he?
Yeah. Anyway, we ended up going to games, getting super into the arena football, and like we would paint our faces. We had jerseys. We were like front row tickets, and it was cool. We were in the Billings Gazette all the time because we were, you know, and then when they won their couple of championships, we were always front and center and got to be pretty good. I mean, we knew a lot of the players and stuff like that. It was fun, you know?
Yeah. And so my brothers, Ken and Pludger, because Ken was the mascot at that time for the Nuggets. And I can't remember why Pludger was out there. Pludger, you have to, I don't know if you can throw that in the comment section there, but these guys would dress all up, and I don't know, they were getting a ton of attention back then. They were like in the newspaper and that kind of stuff. Look at that.
That's April. Hi, April.
My wife just tipped us.
I know. I was waiting for my wife to throw a tip in there. We'll see. I just called her out.
Well, look at that. Well, thank you much.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, I got a supportive family.
And you do.
All right. Thank you. I have a supportive family. And that was super nice of you, Pludger. That's our biggest one so far right there.
No, I think Cody was the same, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
No, Cody. Yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter.
No,
$1 is awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it either way, all the way across the board.
1996, and he was going to school.
That's right. That's right.
So he was part of that Sakic.
So that, because I was trying to remember, why was he there at every game? How was he out there in Denver all that often? I forgot. He was out there finishing up some education out there. And where are we located? We are in downtown Columbus, Montana, here at the Uncle Sam's complex.
In the Big Fat Studio.
Big Fat Studios. Columbus, Montana. Yes. We're South Central Montana.
Yeah.
Not too far from Billings.
So they super fanned it up, huh?
They super fanned it up. I'll have to find you some.
I want to know. Yeah.
And yeah.
That was the Avs first season in Denver.
Yeah.
96.
And they were just like winning and winning and winning. They were huge. They were doing good.
They're kind of like the Golden Knights. When the Golden Knights when the expansion team, the Vegas Golden Knights, their first year, they made a deep playoff run, and I'm not a Golden Knights fan at all because I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. Same division and same conference, and so I'm not a fan of the Golden Knights at all. I love going to their games though because they put on such a show.
Wow.
First pro hockey game I went to was second pro hockey game I went to. I can't remember. Either way, it was Vegas versus Vancouver, or not Vancouver, Calgary Flames. And it was pretty cool, but I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan, and I'll tell you the reason why. And it's not anything crazy.
Why can't you pick an American team?
Just listen, okay? They're fairly close, and they're the same colors as the Denver Broncos. So it was like,
it makes sense.
And orange and blue have been my favorite color since I was a little kid. Like, there's pictures of me in a John Elway uniform, helmet and everything when I'm like 3.
Really?
Yeah. Huge John Elway fan. So my great uncle was an engineer at Coors for years and years and years and years. So I got a lot of family in Denver, and Edmonton, and I really wasn't. I mean, I watched hockey growing up, but I wasn't a huge hockey fan until we should probably talk about this tomorrow. We're talking about lab shit here. Now we're talking about hockey, but I was a, I'd watch the playoffs and the Stanley Cup because I think that. And I'll say it tomorrow too. I think the Stanley Cup and the hockey playoffs is like the most demanding playoff run in all of professional sports. It is insane what they put their bodies through.
It is an aggressive sport.
Well, they put their bodies through that for 82 games. And then they have this, you got to win 16 more games.
Yeah.
But you might play almost double that because there's best of whatever series. Dude, I think hockey playoffs is probably the most demanding playoff in all of sports. But once the whole debacle with the NFL started, I mean, it was like no more NFL.
Yeah.
And it was nothing but hockey and nothing but hockey. And now, like, all 3 of my girls, they're like, it doesn't matter what team's playing. We all have our favorite teams, but it doesn't matter who's really playing. We're watching hockey. We buy extra streaming services just to watch hockey. And then we turn them off as soon as hockey season's over.
I got respect for you for dropping the NFL. I got same way. I'm like, I don't even watch. I don't even care. So I've only been to one. I think I've only been to one hockey game, maybe 2, and they were Avalanche games, and it was a ton of fun. Super intense. It's just a great sport to go and see in person. I mean, it's fun to watch on TV, but to be there, I mean, it's crazy.
So we've sat all over. We've sat glass side. And when we went to the Avs game a couple weeks ago, when Edmonton came down and played, Oiler Nation was there. So we ended up sitting with. We didn't plan it, but we ended up sitting with Oiler Nation. It's a bunch of traveling fans that they come to the States and they go to a bunch of their games. We sat with Oiler Nation and we were on Instagram and all that crap with them too. It was kind of fun, dude. It was so fun. I love hockey.
Sounds like
Can't wait for tomorrow though. I'm sure Ken's got some awesome stories. Yes,
oh, he's got a bunch. He's got a bunch. Yeah. All right. Gideon Solomon right there. Hi from Moapa Valley, my alma mater, home of the Pirates. I went to Moapa Valley High School.
Moapa Valley.
Yeah. Okay. Home of the Pirates. Out in the middle of the desert, and we were Pirates.
Doesn't make sense.
We were proud Pirates, though.
Out in the middle of the desert.
Blue and gold.
How'd they get there? How'd the Pirates get there? Why were you the Pirates in the middle of the Nevada desert?
I think we were just trying to think of water. And you know what? We figured out the Pirates had to do with water. And we're like, yeah, I think that's all it was.
But that's for tomorrow. That's all about sports tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
I'm actually excited.
Probably see a lot of my family in the comment section tomorrow. It's gonna be a fun one. I tell the whole Superfan story tomorrow night and my Elway stories. He's got
Elway stories. Oh,
yes, that's Ken right there. He's got some great Elway stories.
Heck yeah.
And he did tell a great Elway story in our first podcast with him. If anybody's a really big sports fan, you want to go back and see that. It's only like, I can't remember what number it was. It was like 40,
41,
43, 42, somewhere like that. I can't remember. But he's got some great stories in there.
So Smile Time was in a pic of Cover Magazine when Covey hit his 400th goal for the Atlanta Thrashers, which is no longer a hockey team.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
My child actually touched the Stanley Cup.
I'm kind of jealous. Edmonton's going to bring home a cup.
I did not know it was not okay.
Edmonton's going to be. I'm probably going to take a lot of shit for being a U.S. citizen that loves a Canadian hockey team.
Oh, you probably are.
But that's okay.
But
I will own it.
It just comes with it.
It does.
You got to be more of a man to just like a Canadian hockey team over an American. You got to be able because you got to be able to take the heat.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. And any of the places we've gone to watch Edmonton play in the States have been super cool.
Yeah,
they're like. People are like crazy though when we go up there and they're like, you're from Montana and you're an Edmonton Oiler fan. Like, how long does it take to get here? 13 hours. I know that. And we usually stop in Calgary and go to a Calgary game and then go to Edmonton.
Man, you should get like complimentary poutine when you go to Canada from here.
I should.
Man,
it's good. But awesome, dude.
All right.
Dude, this was an awesome like subject tonight. I super like surprised and stoked that you found it.
Awesome. Well, thanks. It was fun. I'm glad you didn't know anything about it.
Not like the 50 questions on the Eagles.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see my Instagram post?
I didn't.
Or Instagram story or it's on Facebook. But yeah, I took pictures of two bald eagles that just the other day that are sitting on this tree. And
oh man, I'll have to go check those out.
Yeah. Our national bird.
Yeah.
As of
our brand new national bird.
So yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in to our podcast tonight. And if you haven't subscribed already, hey, consider that. Consider hitting that bell to get notified. Hit the like button. It'll help us out. We really appreciate it.
And if you are subscribed, share it, guys. I mean, we get some more people interested in kind of the crazy stuff we talk about and have a good time. We like interacting with everybody. So
getting some steam rolling. We're trying to we're kind of figuring out our technical things and other, and then we're going to invite some guests in here in studio with us while we do a live stream. We wanted to make sure we knew what we were doing before we started having people live in the studio with us.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is going to be our first, basically our first live stream with a guest.
Yeah.
Hey, and what better way to do that than with family? And so if something goes wrong, I'm like, hey, he's got to still love me, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, thanks everybody. It's sure been a lot of fun. And we'll see you tomorrow evening, 6:30.
Mountain Time.
Mountain Standard Time.
Good night.
Good night.